Ndị Igbo ekeneni m unu. Asị m na ọ ya dịrị ana Igbo na mma. Na ana Igbo ya dị ka echi, na echi ada agwụ agwụ. Ihe a bụ Igbo Media, ebe si welitere ya bụ akụkọ ụwa. Gbasịta maka ya bụ ihe na-eme na ana Igbo, n'ebe niile gbara gburugburu bụ ana Igbo si wee bido. Dịka o si dị, ozi ewetara unu ụbọchị nke taa bụ ozi gbasịta maka mkpagbu a na-eme ndị Igbo and nwere onwe a na-azụ n'ana Igbo. Dịka unu si wee na-anụ ya n'ebe dị iche iche ka o si ada. Ọzọ dịka ibe ya bụ ọbụna nke ụbọchị izi gị gaba arụ ka ịtụsa ya bụ ozi anyị na-achọ ịnọ na Igbo Media kwurute ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ n'ebe dị iche iche ka e wee kọọrọ ụmụnne fa wee marakwanụ ka ya bụ ife si akpọtụ n'obodo anyị nọ n'ime ya ma ndị nwere ụwa na-azọ n'ala Igbo. Dịka o si dị, a ga-alapụ unu ugbu a ka unu gee ya bụ ozi nke anyị ji maka ya wee bịa n'ụbọchị uruchi nke taa. Ị ga-esi ya gị deela anyị n'akara kọmentị ihe iche n'ụdị nke gị gbasịta maka ya bụ ife. Ngwadalụ nwanne m, gwa ya okwu.
Before January 15, 1966. All that fizzled out after our 30-month avoidable civil war. Now, the Nigerian army has expressed concerns that youths from the zone are shunning recruitment into the army and has highlighted the need for sensitization. But the team leader of the year 2025 Nigerian Army Recruitment Awareness Team, himself a Southeasterner, Brigadier General Chima Ekafo, is in the region in a bid to change the narrative. He was at Umuahia to sensitize his youths on the importance of taking up the slots allocated to the zone. Over now to the power of conviction.
It is understandable that people from the Southeast are reluctant to join the Nigerian army, because when you join the army, you are laying your life down for the flag.
Yeah.
And because of these Biafra sentiments, some of them believe that they don't want to join and fight for the Nigerian state. But it's unfortunate. Unfortunate because 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, when there is need to appoint officer corps at the top of the Nigerian army, they would solidly discover that they don't have officers at the table.
Within their ranks.
And then they will now complain again of marginalization, of how they have not appointed somebody from Southeast as a top army general.
Yeah.
But if you don't join, you cannot have the opportunity of rising through the ranks to get to the top of it. So they have to look at that. You cannot say because you are upset with the Nigerian state or because you are desirous of Biafran state, you will now let this opportunity pass to join the Nigerian army. Because if you don't join the Nigerian army will move forward and put people from other regions, and eventually these people will move up the ladder, and then they will get to the top, and they will be the one that can be appointed into positions. So it is important for leaders and leaders of thought in the East to sensitize their youth to know that it is important for them to be part of the army, the Nigerian army, because as a component part of Nigeria, their interest in the Nigerian army is also important. It's unfortunate what has happened because, like the news said, they used to dominate the Nigerian army.
Oh yeah.
Before 1966 school, they used to dominate the Nigerian army
Meritoriously,
because a lot of them joined. A lot of them went to when the colonial masters were here, and they were recruiting like this. At that time, most times at that time, the Western region were not so enthusiastic in joining.
Yeah.
It's just like the same thing that was happening now.
As a matter of fact, because of the preponderance of officers from the Southeast region then, the late Sadaunas said to his boys, you people join the army.
Yes, in fact, they were going to schools to recruit young people. Yeah. People like President Buhari were recruited in schools. Yeah. Because at that time, a lot of the regions were reluctant to join the colonial army. And it was the Southeast that were really joined. And they benefited from it because as at the time we got the independence, most of the commanders were from the southeast region. But because of the war, and they had to go back to the east, and by the time they came back, they didn't have the kind of opportunity that they used to have. Yeah. So it's important for us not to make that kind of mistake again. The war has ended a long time ago. As far as I'm concerned, there is no Biafra on ground. It can be a dream, but there's no Biafra on ground. So for you to prefer to be loyal to the Biafran flag instead of Nigerian flag is delusional. Yeah. So it is important to sensitize the youth to say it is important for you to join the Nigerian army, because, like I said, 20 years, 30 years down the line, you will not be at the table when they are appointing people that will control and supervise the Nigerian army. At that time, they should not come out to say they are being marginalized, because if you are not at the table, there is no way you can be in the position of authority.
Wally, a good thing that an officer, a brigadier general from the Southeast region, for those who missed it, Brigadier General Chima Ekafor is in the region in a bid to convince youth that please come join the army. There are allocations for the region.
Yeah. Well, I think just like Mayor has said, there are a lot of reasons why the enthusiasm is low in joining the Nigerian army.
Understandably so.
Yes. I think in the first instance, he said, the Brigadier General said out in Abia State, for instance, out of 200 slots that were given to Abia State, only 53 people applied. That's less than 25, roughly 25% of the population of the slot given to Abia State.
Yeah.
And that's not a good one at all. I believe there are so many reasons, apart from the fact that the spirit of nationalism has declined over the years. In the past, the spirit to serve Nigeria, was very high all over the country. But now, it's not just...
Otherwise donning the Nigerian uniform, the army uniform, police...
It was a source of pride, But now, you discover that even when we were growing up, we wanted to go to University of Maiduguri, ABU, you want to do your service, you want to go to Sokoto. But now, you discover that people are shrinking. You want your... for security reasons, you want your son to go to the nearest university, you want him to do his civil service. If you put him in Adamawa State, you want to withdraw him back to your state. So there is a general decline in terms of the spirit of nationalism in the country. We can't throw that away. The other reason is that the Nigerian army, a lot of people think that because of the asymmetric war that is going on all over the country now, there is the prospect of being posted to, troubled areas, that immediately after your training, you may be compelled to go and fight terrorism. And a lot of parents, not even the youth alone, they don't want their children to go into such, unlike maybe 25 years ago. You are joining the army for a different reason. You are thinking of going to NDA, going for courses abroad and all that. But now, you know that when you join the army, there is a likelihood that after the first 6 months, you might be, seconding into this. So, but I think it's important to educate our people because there are consequences in the future if they are not able to meet up with their quota.
Okay, it's time now to fall back on team leader Babajide Kolade Otitoju. BKO, just wondering how you weigh in here.
I think that the Biafra agitation has a role to play in this state of affairs. People are reluctant to join the army. If outside of the Southeast, people are struggling to join the army. I know some of those who have reached out to me, how do I get in? But this is a peculiar situation in the Southeast. Don't forget too that even when the idea of the students' loan came, the leadership of NEL Fund complained that in the Southeast, people refused to apply for students' loan. The bulk of the people, many of the people who applied were actually from the far north.
Wow.
But people in the Southeast refused to apply. They looked at the number of people who applied from the schools in the Southeast, It was a very infinitesimal number. And the Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Benjamin Kalu, was so concerned. And he was asking, what really is the reason? This is something that indigent students can benefit from. And it's not as if every student in the Southeast is rich, lives in luxury. So an opportunity to be able to get educated without having to spend so much. The people didn't apply. What they then did was to say, okay, let's sensitize them for that. Let's break it down for them. Let them realize that, look, there's a lot to gain. My suspicion is that they just refused to apply because they just felt, look, this thing will not work. The sort of tales that we read on social media whereby every effort that government makes get dismissed. We have educated people.
Ngwanụ daalụ niile nụ ụmụnne m dịka si na-esoro anyị n'Igbo Media. Gịnị ka unu nwere ikwu na nkọwa nke unu gbasịta maka ihe unu nọ n'iru akwụkwọ n'ụbọchị uhuruchi nke taa? Gwa anyị ife iche n'ụdị nke gị, deela ya n'akara kọmentị ka mara ihe i chere, ma chetakwa tụsa ya bụ ozi ka o wereta ụmụnne anyị ndị ọzọ ntị. Ndewo na ụmụnne m, ka emesịa nụ.